Drop, you can't ignore it. I'm transforming now these cars and planes. I'm always boarding. Just out touring down in Charlotte like I play for Hornets.
Good Tuesday evening, ladies and gentlemen. How you doing? I am your host, Kendrick, the sports guy, and you're watching the TFG Sports Show, the best 30-minute sports talk show on social media. Hope everyone is having a great start to their week. Again, the weather forecast is what it's been the last month and a half. Hot. It's been HOTT. So we're gonna keep pressing on, and hopefully everyone is staying cool. I see we got Jesse J in here. Thank you for dropping in. And as we talk about that, I want everybody to come on in. Make sure you like, you subscribe, you share this to your social media platforms. And if you haven't, make sure you subscribe to TFG Sports Media on YouTube, and make sure you like and follow TFG Sports Media on Facebook. Jesse J said hot as hell here in Texas. You got that right. And it is not going to let up, because we in the second day of August, and guess what? August is the hottest month of the summer. So we just got to keep on pushing. Glad everybody joined me. Make sure you come in. Make sure you comment so we can talk it up. We're going to talk a little bit of sports real quick. I got to give a shout out to my granddaughter, Anila, who is, you can't see her. She's off camera. She's quiet, but she told me, Papa, you need to practice before you start. I was like, I think I got it. She said, no, practice makes perfect. I was like, okay, you just dropped a jewel on your pop. 7-year-old with some wisdom, soon to be 8. Her born day is in 12 days, and she is not letting us forget about it. So anyway, got to give a shout out to my granddaughter, Anila. So we're going to get into these quick hits real quick before we jump into the meat and potatoes. First of all, talk about Kyler Murray. I know y'all heard all of the craziness with that homework clause that was put in his contract that was going to require him to watch study 4 hours of videotape outside of the facilities on his own time. Well, the Cardinals organization came back, yanked that out of his clause, caused a big uproar. Kyler Murray talked about it, had a presser, because he had just signed that big $230 million extension with $160 million guaranteed. So the homework clause, as it was given, the title, it is no longer in his contract. And by the way, wishing him a speedy recovery. Kyler Murray has been tested. He tested positive for COVID. And as you all know, the internet doesn't take long to jump on that. And the memes have kind of been, some of them has been funny, but COVID is nothing to be laughing about. So anyway, speedy recovery to Kyler Murray. Now, our second quick hit, talking about Brittany Griner trial. WNBA star for the Phoenix Mercury. They're saying that there should be a verdict and sentence expected on Friday, looking for this thing to end. Griner could face up to 10 years in prison if convicted of transporting of cannabis oils. The Biden administration has offered an exchange to Russia of Victor Bout. Now, Victor Bout is a Russian arms trafficker that's serving 25 years in prison here in the States. The Biden administration, according to reports, has offered him in exchange for the release of Griner. There has nothing come of that yet, so we're going to keep our eye on that again. They're saying Friday we could have a verdict and a sentence in the Brittany Griner case. Now, quick hit number 3, Deshaun Watson. All this finally came. We finally got a verdict, got a suspension. Sue Robinson gave out a 6-game suspension for Deshaun Watson, who has been embroiled in this civil lawsuits and, the situation with his sexual misconduct during massages. A lot of people was up in the uproar. He only got 6 games and no fine. A lot of people was thinking that wasn't enough. Some said that they felt like he already served his suspension with him not playing that whole year for the Houston Texans. So again, Deshaun Watson only have to serve a 6-game suspension with no fines, and Jacoby Brissett looks like will be the starter for the Cleveland Browns in those 6 games that he is not available. Now, my last quick hit. Well, I got 2 more after this. The Miami Dolphins just came down today. Jesse J says you can't please everybody. I totally agree with that. I thought it was going to be a year-long suspension, but arbitrator came in. Now, I will say this, back to Deshaun Watson, the NFL, Roger Goodell, they could appeal that decision. They got until Thursday to appeal the suspension. And then if they appeal, then Roger Goodell it's on him to make the decision on how many games that Deshaun Watson would lose. So we'll keep our eye on that as well. Now, the Miami Dolphins will lose first-round pick in 2023. Their owner, Stephen Ross, has been fined $1.5 million for tampering with Tom Brady and Sean Payton. Now, Ross was also, who's the owner of the Dolphins, was also suspended through October 17th, 2022. Means he cannot be at the Dolphins facility or represent the team at any team event. Now, this comes on the heels of, according to reports, Ross was actually trying to talk to Brady when he was with the Patriots about coming there, as well as maybe becoming somewhat of a part owner. And he did that with him when he was with Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And the deal with Sean Payton, he was actually communicating with Payton's agent when agent really Payton had just retired and hadn't really fully retired from the Saints, about coming and coach the Dolphins. All those tampering rules, you can't do that. And so Brian Flores, he may have some of his gripes, may be legit. But the one thing that the NFL did say, they did not find any findings on Stephen Ross actually wanting Brian Flores to throw games or to lose games or to tank games for $100,000. So they did not find any findings in that part of the investigation. Now, my last quick hit for tonight: Dallas Cowboys are looking for some receiver help. Their free agent signing from the Pittsburgh Steelers, James Washington, on yesterday's practice, running a route. I think cornerback, his name is slipping my mind right now. Y'all know what I'm talking about with all the interceptions. Anyway, the cornerback fell on his foot, and he's going to be out 6 to 10 weeks with a fractured foot. That is James Washington. So the Cowboys will be looking for some receiver help. You remember Michael Gallup is already out the beginning of the season. They traded Amari Cooper. And then Noah Brown is on IR right now as well with a groin injury. So they're going to need some receiver help here in just a second. So those, Trayvon Diggs. I don't know how I could not remember his name. So Trayvon Diggs, our pro cornerback for the Cowboys. So that's our quick hits. So let's get down to our meat and potatoes. Got to talk about the legend, Bill Russell. We lost one of the Giants, one of the first superstars in the NBA, Bill Russell. That's been the talk the last 48 hours. Passed away on Sunday at the age of 88. He was an 11-time NBA champion, 5-time MVP, 12-time All-Star. He had 21,620 rebounds in his career. He averaged 22.5 rebounds per game. He led the NBA in rebounding 4 times. He averaged 15.1 points per game, 4.2 assists per game in his career. He was awarded the Medal of Freedom in 2011 by former President Barack Obama. He retired in 1969 at the age of 35. He was the first black head coach to ever coach in any of the major professional sports. He became the head coach of the Boston Celtics in the mid-'60s and won two championships as a player and a coach. He was the first black player inducted into the Naismith Hall of Fame in 1975, and he did not attend his ceremony of induction because Mr. Russell said that I shouldn't be the first, and there should be more of us in here, and I am not going to the ceremony. So also some other history: the NBA Finals MVP trophy is named after Bill Russell. I think that happened a couple of years ago. It is now called the Bill Russell NBA Finals MVP. One of the more iconic pictures and things about Bill Russell, there was a summit in Cleveland in 1967 where they went to support Muhammad Ali because of his stance against not going to the Vietnam War. The picture included Mr. Russell, Jim Brown, Lou Alcindor at that time, who we all know as Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Muhammad Ali, Bobby Mitchell, and others, black men involved in the civil rights movement. Again, Mr. Russell was involved. You know, we can talk about all the accolades that he had on the court, but off the court in the civil rights movement, he was a big player. He went to Mississippi after the murder of Medgar Evers and was able to begin integrate a basketball camp to try to ease the tension there in the South. You know, that was a difficult time. He came up in a difficult time. Him and Wilt Chamberlain, when you think about the NBA at that time, they were the first two superstars in the NBA, Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain. So this man is a legend. You know, he does. I think a lot of times he does. Unfortunately, a lot of times when people die is when they get the most accolades. And I think sometimes we overlook Bill Russell. 11 championships in 12 seasons. Nobody will ever do that. You can't. He's the greatest winner ever in any team sports in America. So we gotta respect him for that. And he just when he walked in the room stopped. He had that infectious laugh. And he always dropped jewels in interviews. I will watch interviews. He gonna always bring some jewels and drop jewels. And I think another thing, something I thought about, that he was instrumental in getting Kobe Bryant and Shaq to cut out this beef that they had. He was instrumental in getting them guys together and saying, hey, look, you know, this thing is bigger than basketball now. You two are too grown. Let's, you know, y'all made good music together. So Bill Russell was instrumental in bringing them together. And speaking of rivalries, one of the biggest rivalries in the NBA history was him and Wilt. And Bill, even though Bill got the best of him win-wise, Wilt had him stat-wise, but that was the biggest rivalry in the NBA. The two biggest guys and two of the best centers to ever play the game. It's interesting. They became lifelong friends, and Bill Russell actually eulogized Wilt Chamberlain's funeral. He was a eulogist, so that just shows you the connection that those two, and they always going to be connected together. What can we say about William Felton Russell? He was born in Monroe, Louisiana. His parents eventually they moved to the West Coast. He went to the University of San Francisco, where he won 2 national championships there. He won an Olympic gold medal in 1956 as well. And he was, according to history, he could have went to the Olympics as a high jumper. He was that kind of athlete. You know, he's about 6'9", wasn't a real big, you know, when you think about it, but he did his thing. So, you know, we still mourn the loss of Mr. Russell. We know the Celtics are going to do something big for his memorial services for him. And just think about him playing in Boston, one of the most racist cities at that time, according to reports. And I will say his daughter did have a story about one time they were gone for the weekend and they came back home to their home vandalized. They had broken into his home, had destroyed his trophy cases, and the robbers even defecated in his bed. That's the kind of thing that he had to put up with in Boston and during that whole 60s movement. So I think we gotta revere our athletes. We gotta our past athletes. Those guys paved the way for what some of our new athletes now get to do, and we got to respect them. So again, we lost a legend. William Felton Russell died at the age of 88. Salute to you, King, and rest in power. So let's keep it in the NBA. We move into one legend to a self-proclaimed legend, and I say that loosely because he definitely ain't a legend. We're talking about Draymond Green. Yeah, he's a 4-time NBA champion. Well, he wants a max contract. He's eligible to sign a contract extension. Matter of fact, tomorrow. He's in his 10th season. He's 32 years old, but he's looking for a 5-year deal worth $164.2 million. He already has 2 years left on his 4-year, $100 million deal extension he inked in 2019. Word is Golden State the Warriors organization has no plans to offer Green an extension. And I just looked over his stats. He only played 46 games this past season, and he averaged 7.5 points per game, 7.3 rebounds, and 7 assists. That's what he averaged this past season in 46 games. And now for his career, his career average 8.7 points, 6.9 rebounds, 5.4 assists. He shoots 44% from the field, and he was a defensive player of the year in 2017. I just want to ask my people, man, does those stats garner an extension worth $164.2 million? I don't see it. I think he's a great role player, but he ain't worth $164.2 million extension. I ain't trying to get in nobody's pockets, but Draymond Green, I think he thinks he's better than he really is. He's already set up. Well, he's part of this new media thing, whatever that means. According to him, only professional players can speak on the sport. But that's a whole nother topic for another day. But do you think Golden State should give him that max contract? Me personally, I don't think so. Let him play out that extension he signed in 19 and go for there, because I think Steph is going to be up in another year or two. I believe in 2 years, I want to say. And Klay Thompson is going to be around that time too. So he wants the 5-year deal worth $164.2 million. I don't see Draymond Green as a max guy. I think he can be entertaining with his podcast, but I think a lot of the stuff he likes to hear himself talk. So a lot of the things he say, I'd be like, it goes in one ear and out the other for me. But to each his own. I would tell Golden State not to do that, because now again, they've already lost some players already from the NBA championship team that they couldn't really sign. Gary Payton the second left for Portland, and they lost another player too as well. That they Michael Porter, I want to say, I believe. So they got to keep some money because they got to re-up Stephen, and I'm assuming they're gonna re-up Clay. And what are they gonna do with Wiggins? Are you gonna keep Wiggins? Do you have? I mean, if I had to choose between Wiggins and Draymond Green, I'm going with Wiggins. You can find a role player putting up 7.5 points, 7.3 rebounds, 7.0 assists. You can find them somewhere. You can find them. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that. I think it's crazy, but hey, he may get it. I know if I wouldn't pay a 32-year-old that's in his 10th season, give him a 5-year max contract at a 164.2. But I don't run the Golden State Warriors. I'm just on the sideline being the couch general manager. So anyway, good luck to you, Draymond. I'll be listening to your podcast. I try to, just to see what crazy you're going to say. But anyway, we'll see what happens with that. All right, Mr. Producer, let's move on to our next. We're staying in the NBA. It was a little bit more NBA. Dwight Howard, NBA free agent, NBA champ. He was won him a chip with the Lakers in 2020. He's a free agent right now. He had an actual tryout for SummerSlam WWE, and I did a story on TFG Sports Media on YouTube. Go check it out. And he had his audition. His audition was pretty dope. He actually did the Show Enough character for the 1985 movie The Last Dragon. Now, if you haven't, I'm kind of telling my age. I really didn't watch. I remember the movie. I didn't watch it, but I remember the character Show Enough. But Dwight Howard says he wants to do the WWE thing. He's always wanted to, what is it about these athletes want to leave their core sport and either go box or wrestle? I guess that's the new thing now. But Dwight Howard, I think he might have a career in the four circles. He's 6'10", 265 pounds. He's a big guy. He's still in pretty good shape. He looks like he could do something. But he's 36. So he get in the ring. I just saw the other day where I think this weekend Ric Flair had his last wrestling match. Ric Flair, I know every bit of mid-70s. So yeah, Dwight Howard is looking to start a WWE career. He hasn't signed with a team. A reporter caught up with him after his audition and asked him, what is your plan as far as staying in the NBA? He said, I'm playing it by ear. If it's the right situation, I'm gonna take it. But if I don't find the right situation, then the WWE is. Dwight Howard is an 8-time All-Star, 5-time All-Defensive Team, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, and he was a 2008 Slam Dunk champ. So I was trying to think of what would his wrestling name be. Would it because he wore the Superman cape? Would it be Super Dwight, the Dwight Powers? I don't know. Just trying to figure out what would his wrestling name be once he stepped into the ring. So I think he got a good shot of doing something. the WWE is it's all scripted at this point. If you can act a little bit and you got some physical ability, you'll be all right. And plus, they trying to steer themselves away. Vince McMahon just stepped down, just retired as the CEO. He retired with a lot of some sexual misconduct issues that's going to follow him. But he retired. His daughter Stephanie McMahon is going to be co-CEO and take it from here. So I don't know. I think it'll be cool. It'll be interesting to see what he does. The one thing about Dwight Howard, a lot of people always looked at him as kind of corny and soft. I know Shaq would always call him soft in this, but Dwight Howard was probably one of the most athletic centers to come into the game. When you talk about athletic ability, him and Hakeem, I think, were two of the most athletic, not considered real big centers that ever played a game. And it's a travesty that he's not on the NBA 75 team, because I know there's some names on there that Dwight Howard dang should be on there before them, but that's neither here nor there. So Dwight Howard is looking to get into the WWE, the wrestling realm. We're gonna see what happens with that. And again, if you get a chance, go to YouTube, TFG Sports Media. Go search for the story I did, Dwight Howard's WWE tryout, and check it out. He did an audition. I had some video of that audition and some sound with him as well. So go check it out. You might be impressed with his acting abilities. I was pretty impressed with it. So there you have it. All right, Mr. Producer, let's move on to our next topic. It's been an all basketball show pretty much today. Netflix is dropping a documentary. I want to know if anyone remembers the N1 mixtape street ball show. Let me throw these names out here and see if you remember. Hot Sauce, Professor, Skip to Malou, Escalade, Main Event, Spider, Half Men, Half Amazing, Alamo. Those names sound familiar? They should, because I know I watched the N1 mixtape. It took off like a firestorm. It was the hottest thing on. I remember the series with Arrow, I believe, on ESPN2. And I remember when it jumped off, it was crazy. The idea came from these two young guys that was in college, and they wanted to go against Nike when it came to the N1 apparel line. And they tried to figure out, how can we battle Nike to get a piece of this pie? And the street ball thing came with that. They went and found some of the coldest street ball players in New York and surrounding areas, and that mixtape, N1 mixtape street ball, was born. And again, it was big everywhere you want. If you on the cable, everywhere you saw it, they were everywhere doing commercials, everything. Those guys were superstars. And this documentary is going to talk about the rise and fall of the N1 mixtape thing. And Netflix has done some good documentaries too, because I was wondering what happened to N1 and the street ball circuit and the rise and fall. And this documentary is going to do that. They're going to have interviews with a couple of the most popular players. I did see the trailer. They had to sit down with Hot Sauce and Professor. If you don't know who Skip to Malou is, that's Rayford Austin, who eventually ended up playing in the league for the Milwaukee Bucks, and he bounced around for a couple of teams as well. But I believe they have some interviews with him. And if in Escalade, that was a real big guy. He was like 6'7", like 320. And if a lot of people don't know, that was Mark Jackson's younger brother. Mark Jackson, the point guard and the head coach of the Golden State Warriors, that was his younger brother. And he, unfortunately, Escalade passed away, I want to believe, in 2011. So Untold, The Rise and Fall of N1, it premieres August the 23rd on Netflix. I guarantee you it's going to be something good to watch. We had another good documentary that just premiered on Showtime Basketball this past Friday called Point Guards. That's talking about the New York City point guards. Speaking of Mark Jackson, Stephon Marbury, God, Sham God, and I'm gonna miss some. I'm missing some. Kenny Smith. So yeah, that's a documentary that's airing right now on Showtime Basketball, and it's really good. And it's called Point Guards. It's talking about that, New York City. They known for their point guards. They got that swag and that flair. That they know how to handle the ball. They know how to play dribble that rock. So Oh, and Kenny Anderson is in that as well, which is probably one of my favorites. Left-handed, and he had handles. When you talk about handles, Kenny Anderson definitely comes to mind right off the top. Rod Strickland is another one that just has some crazy handles. Everybody talk about Kyrie Irving, which Kyrie Irving, he up there too. He got them mad handles too. But Kenny Anderson was a beast with dribbling and Shem God as well. So that's already airing on Showtime Basketball right now on Showtime. Point guards, but this doc is going to be talking about the N1 mixed circuit. The only thing negative I would say about the N1 craze was it did teach a lot of bad habits, and you see that now in a lot of our younger generation guys that balling now. They took a lot of that sauce and all that swag from N1, but they took a lot of they don't have the fundamentals because N1 it was a lot of more showmanship, obviously. They could carry the ball and do some other things and all that. You look great doing it, but the fundamentals, I believe, was lost a little bit. But it was definitely entertaining. Kind of puts you in the mind of the Harlem Globetrotters, on a different scope. So Netflix is premiering Untold: The Rise and Fall of N1. The trailer is really good. Again, it premieres on August the 23rd. Make sure you guys check that out. Didn't mean to give Netflix a free pub, but it's a definitely looks like it's going to be a good documentary, and one that's going on right now on Showtime is Point Guards that premiered this past Friday. So check that out. So again, that's been the meeting and the potatoes. Down to my final thoughts. I just want to say definitely want to keep paying homage and to the life of William Felton Russell, who passed away this past Sunday at 88 with his wife Janine by his side. Again, memorials are still, according to reports, are going to be put together. But we lost a giant, man. We lost a giant of a man that faced the odds, and not only was he a giant on the court, he was a giant off the court. And, I just want to say, man, we got to give our roses to those legends that we still have here, especially athletics or whatever it is. Because I was just thinking, far as in the NBA, now we got Kareem. Speaking of Kareem, he wrote a beautiful letter in homage to Bill Russell in Sports Illustrated. If you get a chance, go check that out. Kareem is such an eloquent writer. But our legends, man, we got Kareem, and they dwindling. Oscar Robertson, who else? George Gervin, Bob Cousy. It's not Dr. J. It's not many of them left. It's not many of them left. So we definitely got to give those guys their flowers while they live. And as I say, I was just thinking, man, wow, Kareem, Oscar, Dr. J, Bob Cousy, and I'm leaving out some more George Gervin. But a lot of the players from the 60s and the 70s are no longer here. So again, want to pay homage to William Felton Russell, known as Bill Russell, 11-time champ, 5-time MVP, 2-time NCAA champ, 1956 Olympic gold medalist, first NBA black coach in the league, the first black player to be inducted into the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame in 1975. He played roughly 13 years. He retired in 1969 at the age of 35. So get a chance, go check out some of those battles with Bill Russell and Wilton Norman Chamberlain. Those were some battles, and the Celtics and Bill got the best of Wilt most of the times, and Bill goes down as the greatest winner in team sports, in my opinion. So this has been TFG Sports Media Show. I'm your sports host, Kendrick. I hope everyone will have a great evening. I hope the rest of your week goes well. Again, stay cool, stay hydrated. Again, go check out, if you haven't, make sure you subscribe to TFG Sports Media on YouTube. Make sure you like and follow TFG Sports Media on Facebook, and go check out some of the stories on there. Got something for everybody. Make sure you subscribe. We almost at 600 subscribers on TFG Sports Media on YouTube. Need your help to get to 1,000. And I believe we're going to get there. I believe we're going to, and I'm going to keep giving you this content. All right. Keep giving it to you. So again, you guys enjoy the rest of your evening. I'll see you back here at 6:30 next week. I'm out. Peace.
That money clip us now, the new now looks like, whoa. Upgrade her diamonds, now her girlfriends are like, whoa, 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 whoa. I hit record it, drop, you can't ignore it. I'm transforming now these cars and planes, I'm always boarding. Just out touring down in Charlotte.